Today's podcast looks at the ballad The Death of Queen Jane. I'll look at its background and printing history, sing samples of the different tunes and versions, and end on a full performance. Queen Jane lay in labour full 9 days and more, till the women were so tired they could stay no longer there, till the women were so tired they could stay no longer there. King Henry was sent for, King Henry did come. What do ail you, my lady? Your eyes look so dim. What do ail you, my lady? Your eyes look so dim. King Henry, will you do one thing for me? That's to open my right side and find my baby. To open my right side and find my baby. Oh no, said King Henry, that's a thing I'll never do. If I lose the flower of England, I shall lose the branch too. If I lose the flower of England, I shall lose the branch too. That tune and words were collected in 1907 by Henry Hammond from Mrs. Marina Russell of Upwey in Dorset. Jane Seymour is in labour with Henry VIII's child. She begs her attendants to remove her baby by opening her right side. They call King Henry, but he'll not permit the operation. Queen Jane is given a caudle to make her sleep. The baby is delivered, but Jane dies. Jane Seymour was the third wife of Henry VIII. Henry wanted a male heir, and despite several miscarriages, Catherine of Aragon, his first wife, was not able to provide one. Catherine of Aragon was divorced by an arrangement that caused Henry to declare England as a Protestant state, rather than obeying the rules laid down by the Roman Catholic style of Christianity. It should be clear that Henry had no actual protest against the religion, but he wished to have a divorce so he could marry Anne Boleyn. The change was for carnal reasons rather than religious belief. Henry and Anne were married on the 25th of January 1533. His marriage to Anne Boleyn was ended when he had a charge of treason manufactured in order that he could officially have him murdered. He was already making amorous advances to Jane Seymour in the latter half of his marriage to Anne Boleyn, for whom Jane was a lady-in-waiting. Anne was beheaded on the 19th of May 1536. Henry and Jane were married on the 30th of May, just 11 days after Anne Boleyn's execution. Jane Seymour was 33 years old and was not considered to be particularly beautiful. She was gentle, self-effacing and subservient. She became pregnant 6 months after their marriage. The birth of the child that became Edward VI was said to be difficult, finally resulting in Jane's death. The doctor was sent for, and to her he came. Dear lady, fair lady, your labour's in vain. Dear doctor, will you do this for me? Oh, open my right side and save my baby. Then out spake King Henry, that never can be. I'd rather lose the branches than the top of the tree. The doctor gave a caudle, the death sleep slept she. Then her right side was opened, and the baby set free. The baby, it was christened and put out to nurse, but the royal Queen Jane, she lay cold as the dust. That tune and words was collected in March 1893 by F. W. Bussell and Sabine Baring-Gould from Samuel Fawn of Mary Tavy in Devon. The date of Jane Seymour's death was on the 24th of October 1537. 12 days after the birth of her son. She had gone into labour on the 9th of October and gave birth on the 12th of October. Jane then supervised the preparation for the official announcement of the birth from her bed. The song implies that Jane Seymour died directly due to the opening of her womb in order to deliver the baby, a caesarean section. Recently there's been a move to question this, and it's been suggested that she died of puerperal fever, known as childbed fever, which is an infection caught at the time of the childbirth. Caesarean section was not unknown at the time of Jane Seymour, but it was usually carried out if the mother had died before the child could be born. The incidents of the mother living through the operation were rare. There was no developed form of anaesthetic. The best they might offer is a caudle, which was a drink made up of wine or ale, sweetened and spiced, and mixed as a form of gruel. This was said to make the patient sleepy. In the noted songs, this is usually a cordial rather than a caudle, which had disappeared from the language by the early 1900s. In the 1500s, surgery and medication was crude. The idea of infection due to a lack of hygiene was not considered. It should be understood that Jane did not die in childbirth. She gave birth on the 12th of October, attended the christening on the 15th of October. On the 16th, she attended a church ceremony. She seemed to have been recovering from childbirth, but on the night of the 23rd, she became ill and died on the 24th of October. Contemporary documents are unclear about the actual childbirth. None mention a caesarean section. It might have been caused by the doctors failing to fully remove the placenta, which hemorrhaged, or infection caused by a lack of cleanliness on the part of the doctors and attendants. Henry himself was not in the best of health. He died 10 years after the death of Jane Seymour. In that time he was married 3 more times. I would recommend reading an article by Alistair Vannin that was printed in the EFDSS Folk Music Journal for 2013, which explores the possible causes of Jane's death and the political spin that seems to have fueled the legend. Queen Jane was in labour for 6 days or more, till the women got tired and wished it all o'er. Good women, good women, good women if you be, will you send for King Henry? For King Henry I must see. King Henry was sent for, King Henry did come home, for to meet his Queen Jane beloved. Your eyes look so dim. King Henry, King Henry, King Henry if you be, will you have my right side opened and find my dear baby? Queen Jane, me love, Queen Jane, me love, such a thing was never known. If we open your right side, you will lose your dear baby. Will you build your love a castle and lie down so deep, for to bury my body and to christen my dear baby? That tune and words were collected by Cecil Sharp in 1906 from Mrs. Sweet of Somerton in Somerset. In the Folk Song Journal for 1905, Lucy Broadwood pointed out similarities between the Danish ballad Dronning Dagmar, i.e. Queen Dagmar, and the popular version of The Death of Queen Jane. Queen Dagmar was the wife of King Valdemar, who lived at the beginning of the 13th century. The ballad storyline is said to be very close to the storyline of the death of Queen Jane, and may be the narrative source of that ballad. I've not seen a translation of the ballad, so I can't confirm its similarity. After Jane Seymour's death, there were some formal poems about the death, including an epitaph of the death of Queen Jane, which was printed in 1575, and the woeful death of Queen Jane, which was printed in 1612, which supports the idea of caesarean section. The ballad The Death of Queen Jane was first noted and was held in a manuscript copy by Thomas Percy, noted from his mother Mrs. Bernard, in February 1776. A version was printed in 1806 in Robert Jameson's The Popular Ballads and Songs, and a version with a tune in George Kinloch's Ancient Scottish Ballads in 1827. The song was quite well known in the early 1900s and collected by folk song collectors in the south of England and North America. The words for the ballad tend to follow the broadside printing, with variations as one would expect from a ballad of this age. I will end this podcast with a version of The Death of Queen Jane, sung by Amanda and Jane Threlfall and Nick Caffrey.
Queen Jane lay in labour full 3 days and more, till the women grew tired and wished it was o'er. Good women, will you do one thing for me? Do open my right side and find my baby. Oh no, said the women, it's a thing we'll never do. We'll send for King Henry and see what he says. King Henry was sent for, King Henry he came. What ails thee, my lady? Your eyes look so dim. King Henry, will you do a thing for me? Do open my right side and find my baby. Oh no, said King Henry, that's a thing I'll never do. If I lose the flower of England, I'd lose the branch too. They gave her a cordial, which put her in a swoon. They opened her right side, and the baby was found. King Henry went in mourning, and so did his men, and so did the baby, for Queen Jane died then. How deep was the mourning, how black were the bands, how yellow, yellow were the flamboys they held in their hand. There was fiddling and dancing on the day the babe was born, but Queen Jane, beloved, lay cold as the stone.